It is a hot Sunday night in Hayes, America, as the Larks get set to wrap up the home portion of their 2026 schedule with a series-deciding matchup against the Boulder Collegians. And welcome in everybody to the press box for the pregame show. My name is Hank Corsair. Eli will join us at first pitch. And last night the Larks fell short against the Collegians. They got up early 3-1 through the first 2 innings, but Boulder was able to shift the momentum very fast. They hit 3 home runs last night. 2 of those came from Yale Johnson in the 4th and 6th inning, and then they had an additional one, which was a 3-run home run in the 8th inning, and they used that to get the big win. And really it just shows that once Boulder can shift that momentum and start to show discipline at the plate, they can compete with the Larks as well, and that's how the Larks were able to win Game 1. So that's going to be a key for both teams, is showing the discipline at the plate, trying to get that one last RMBL win for the Larks, because their last game will be in non-league play tomorrow night in Dodge City. But the Collegians have one more game against the Fort Collins Foxes a week from today, and the Larks still have a lot to play for. They have the NBC World Series coming up. They're one of 16 teams in the nation that made the cut, and they're looking for some big wins at the end of the season that they can use to get some momentum going down to Wichita. So it should be a fun game. It's the final home game of 2026, and first pitch is coming up next here on the Larks Network.
Larks! Join me down at the old ballpark. I'll be rooting for the Hayes Larks. Hayes Larks! Join me down at the old ballpark. I'll be rooting for the Hayes Larks. Hayes Larks! Shake
The Larks fans have packed the stands for one more game here at Larks Park in 2026. The Larks come in at 24-7 off of a loss last night, and the Collegians are 10-14. The Larks will have this game, and they'll play in Dodge City tomorrow night before playing in the NBC World Series, which the schedule was actually announced just a little bit ago for the Larks, and we'll reveal that in a little bit after this inning. But as we get set for first pitch, the starter tonight is number 2, Trent Baker. It is the 11th start of his career and 6th of the season. First batter he's facing is number 15, Britton Fox, the center fielder for the Collegians. He has batted as the leadoff batter every game of this series. And the first pitch of the game is right down Broadway from Baker for strike one. First pitch for tonight's game comes at 6:10. 93 degrees, mostly sunny with clouds scattered throughout the sky, and it currently feels like 95 degrees. Count moves to 1-1 now for Fox against Baker. We'll get to the rest of the Collegians' order in just a second. Baker deals the pitch, and this one's fouled back into the net for strike two. Parker Noah is batting second. Batting third is Yale Johnson, who's also tonight's DH. The fourth batter is number 7, Ethan Fillinger. Batting fifth is Caden Cooper. Number 6 is number 18, Logan Carney. The 7-hole batter is Riley Hall, and the pitch drops on home plate for ball 2. Eighth in the order is Kyler Adams, who is the catcher tonight, and the 9th batter is number 16, Jack File. Baker goes to his full windup with 2 balls and 2 strikes, and this one will get fouled out of play by Fox. Last night, Fox went 2 for 5 with a single and a double. Here comes the next pitch, and that's a swing and a miss for out number 1. Baker getting the Larks started in the right way. 33rd strikeout of this 2026 season for him, which is also the 85th of his career.
Well, and for the Larks, obviously they didn't have that result that they wanted last night. This tonight is really a tune-up game going into the NBC World Series is now the big scheme of things in terms of the RMBL doesn't necessarily affect them at this point. At this point, they're really just trying to tune things up and get those fine-tune adjustments before the NBC World Series.
Parker Noah, the second batter, starts with an 0-1 count. Then he pops up the next pitch, and this one will leave the yard. It's now 0-2, and here's the Larks' defensive alignment for tonight's game. Cooper Holtorf is in left field. Max Flowers is back in center field, and the right fielder is Sean Keenan. Tonight's catcher is number 29, Dylan Hazelhorst, and here's the 0-2. A half-hearted swing that is caught, and that is out number 2. Back-to-back Ks for Trent Baker now with a chance to go 3 up, 3 down as he now faces Yale Johnson.
Baker's another one of those guys in this Larks roster that's so versatile as an athlete, and you've seen him all over the field, and of course, additionally on the hill. He just looks so great all over the field. It just is a testament to his athletic ability.
The pitch goes inside. Yale Johnson is ahead 1-0. He had his best game of the season last night, 2 for 4, with both of those hits being home runs, and those were his only 2 home runs of the season so far, as he now faces a 1-1 count. The first home run came in the 4th inning. It was a 2-run home run, and he added a solo home run 2 innings later. Takes a big swing and misses at the slider. He falls behind with 1 ball and 2 strikes. Trent Baker looking for 3 strikeouts in a row as he delivers the pitch, and this one will be chopped and fielded by him with his bare hand. He throws it with a hop to Tanner Norman, and there is out number 3. A good start there by the Larks, going 3 up, 3 down against the Collegians, and Max Flowers will lead things off when we come back for the bottom of the 1st inning. The Larks were able to go 3 up, 3 down in the top of the 1st inning to start tonight's game, and now they'll go to work with the bats. Tonight's starter for the Collegians is number 28, Ethan Brown, a left-hander from Seattle University, playing in this series for the 2nd time. He was the last pitcher to check in game number 1. And now he makes his first appearance as a starter. He faces Max Flowers, and the first pitch is on its way, and it gets into the strike zone, and it's 0-1.
Well, the Collegians threw a lot of arms last night, and they threw a lot of arms in game one, too. So I would imagine they're going to have to double dip with some pitchers here this evening. It'll be interesting to see the approach from the bullpen if tonight will be a bullpen night.
Now here comes the 0-1. Flowers, it's a line drive, and it bounces, and it's fielded by Fillinger, and he throws it to first in time for out number 1. Very close play, but the Collegians were able to get the throw in time. Now it brings up Cooper Holtorf. Here's the rest of the Larks order after Holtorf. It is Rainer Bean, who is tonight's DH. The fourth batter is Sean Keenan. Batting fifth is Hutch Russell. Tabor Stokes is sixth. Tanner Norman is seventh. And the last two batters are Austin Crawford and Dylan Hazelhorst. Holtorf had one hit last night. That one goes by his face. And the count is 1-0.
And Holtorf is one of those guys that really crowds the plate, and you can see it right there as his foot is on that back line. So sometimes those pitches can come in pretty hot near head level.
Holtorf fouls the next ball out of play for the first strike. Holtorf was able to get his first hit of the series last night. He came into the series on a 7-game hit streak that went all the way back to July 6th. The 1-1 is on its way, and this one is hit right back up the middle, and it is fielded by Brown. He'll give an underhand toss to his first baseman to get the second out. So now Boulder has a chance to return the favor after the Larks were able to go 3 up, 3 down against them. It is the DH Rainer Bean now with 2 doubles and an RBI last night. We'll see what Bean does right here. This is his 28th game of the summer. 32nd overall because he's had 4 games as a pitcher. The first pitch goes high. The count begins 1-0. Bean comes in on a hit streak of his own. His is 6 games long. He's hit 9 of his last 10 games. The glove gets centered from the catcher, and Brown delivers, and this one's fouled out of play. 1-1 is the count. And taking a look at Ethan Brown, this is the first game for him where the stats are going to be recorded because he checked in at the first game of this series, and Boulder did not track his stats. Brown is a left-handed pitcher from Seattle University, last played for the Red Hawks in 2024. And he works up to a 1-2 count against Bean on a swing and a miss there. Aside from the collegiate level, Brown also has a lot of other baseball experience. He's played in the RMBL before in 2024 with the Fort Collins Foxes. And he's also played in the Pioneer League. And this one is popped up, and it's going to land behind the Collegians dugout on the first base side. So Bean will stay alive, awaiting the 5th pitch. Bean continuing to take his time. Here's the 1-2. And this one is going to be chopped foul. Bean's 2 doubles last night came in the 1st and 5th inning. Made it to third base on both of those appearances before the final out was recorded. The Larks will have Sean Keenan and Hutch Russell up next. Brown comes set and delivers. And here's a pop-up on the right side. Hall runs after it in foul territory, standing on the edge of the dirt. He makes the catch, and that ends the inning. The Collegians are able to go 3 up, 3 down against the Larks after 3 balls win in play. And now the middle part of their order is up next when we come back. Trent Baker's back for the top of the second inning, and on the first pitch of the inning, Ethan Fillinger hits this one over to Tabor Stokes, who deals it to Tanner Norman and gets the first out of the second inning on the first pitch. That'll bring the Collegians to their fifth batter in the order. That is number 4, Caden Cooper, the right fielder. A sophomore from Glendale Community College. He was 1 for 5 last night. Baker deals the first pitch to him and gets it in the zone for strike 1. Baker doing a good job so far finding the strike zone early on in this one. He's getting some help from his fielders as well. And this one is lined out of play, and the count is now 0-2. This is more than likely Trent Baker's last game at Larks Park. Just looking back at his career, he's had 116 games as a batter. This is his 31st as a pitcher. And he has really gave the Larks fans some summers to remember.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think that for Trent Baker, I'm sure this is a moment that he'll look back on down the road and say that, man, I really enjoyed this part of my career. We've heard it time and time again from the likes of Trent Baker and Tabor Stokes as well, that they really enjoy playing in front of the home crowd here in Hayes, and they really appreciate all the support that this community really brings forward and puts behind them.
Caden Cooper has now hit 2 foul balls since the 0-2 count. Here's the 5th pitch. And the fastball misses on the low outside corner. The count is 1-2. And we talked about that the Larks have qualified for the 2026 NBC World Series. Not long ago, the schedule for pool play was released. We'll read that off after this pitch. And it's a line drive into left field. And Holtorf gets there in time for the second out. The next batter is number 18, Logan Carney. So the Larks' first game in pool play will be on July 25th. That's 6 days from today. And it will be a 12 p.m. start time against a team that they faced in the quarterfinals last year, the San Diego Stars. The next day will be a 3 p.m. game against Texas Army, who is from Goddard, Kansas. And then they'll get a day off, and on July 28th at 6 p.m., they will play the Alaska Gold Panthers. So there's definitely some winnable games there, but there's also a lot of challenge as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, apologies, folks. My mic's cutting in and out on me right at the moment. From what I could tell on that group, the two teams that, to me, that were standout challenges were going to be the San Diego Stars and the Alaska Gold Panthers, both quality teams that really brought a lot to the table in the last World Series.
That last play was a 4-3 ground out from Logan Carney on a 1-0 count. That ends the top of the second inning. Still no score as the Larks are now in the middle part of their order. Welcome back to Hayes, Kansas for the bottom of the second inning. The Larks are in the middle part of their order after another 3-up, 3-down inning against the Collegians. It'll be Sean Keenan, Hutch Russell, and Tabor Stokes up to bat against the starting arm of number 28, Ethan Brown. Brown's first pitch of the inning misses on the outside for ball one. Brown got some help from his fielders in the first inning. Flowers had a ground out to the shortstop. Holtorf went right back to Brown, and then Bean had a pop fly in foul territory to the first base side. Here's the 1-0, and Keenan hits a ground ball right past the Larks' first base coach, Brady Kreitzer, to make the count 1-1.
Back to the discussion about the NBC World Series and kind of that pool play, how it's shooken up. I think the one team that will be a big question mark will be that Tess's Army team out of Goddard for the Larks. I think some of those teams sometimes will just kind of form a couple weeks before the tournament, and you don't really know what you're going to get or what you're going to face in a situation like that. So that'll certainly be a team that they shouldn't look past, but I think that it'll be an interesting result on that one.
Keenan hits a ground ball to the second baseman, Noah, and there is out number one here in the bottom of the second inning. That takes us now to Hutch Russell. And, there's so many teams that they don't really play in a traditional way, like you see teams like the Larks or Alaska or Santa Barbara, Liberal, etc. Tess's Army, I believe, is actually one of those teams when you think about it. I'll pull up a list from the NBC. Teams can qualify by playing in a tournament that is part of Hap Dumont. And looking at Tess's Army, they got an at-large invitation, so it's just a team that you don't know much about because there's not much to find on them.
Yeah, and growing up, I actually got to attend the tournament many times, and there was a team that used to play in the tournament. They haven't been there in a while, but there was a team that used to play in the tournament called the Kansas Stars, and they had former MLB players on this team, and it was just loaded, stacked, and it was a lot of it was organized by a guy named Coy Hill, who my dad used to play racquetball with, and Coy Hill was a former catcher in the MLB. He did a lot of he bounced around a lot of different teams, but most notably he played for the Cubs at one point, and it's really neat. I mean, they even had the likes of Chipper Jones there one year. I mean, it was just star-studded teams year after year by that club. So it was really neat to get to see, that. And they would always draw a big crowd. It was really neat to get to see a lot of that stuff. So they haven't had anything like that in recent years, but it still certainly draws a crowd. And it's to the point of you never know what you're going to get. You really don't when you go to the NBC World Series.
2-1 is the count. Now it's 3-1 to Russell. And the Larks actually faced a team last year in pool play, the Seattle Blackfins. They didn't see this player, but the Blackfins had a player on their roster that used to play minor league baseball in the Pittsburgh Pirates system. So you're right, you never know what you're going to see. It could literally be anybody. Russell gets walked on the 3-1 count. He was walked 3 times yesterday, but there's the first of this game as the Larks go now to their 6-hole batter, Tabor Stokes.
Just seems like Russell is a magnet for walking at the plate. And it's not a bad thing. We've talked about it. His on-base percentage is among the best on the team. And, Russell just has the vision at the plate. I think that's one of his strongest suits in his game outside of his, fielding, obviously. But, at the plate especially, he just has that vision and that discipline whenever he's in a tight count.
First pitch to Tabor Stokes, a fly ball into right field, short distance travel for Cooper, and there's out number 2. Now up is number 34, Tanner Norman, tonight's first baseman. He reached on a walk last night, and now we'll see what Ethan Brown does against him. As we mentioned, Ethan Brown, he last played collegiate baseball in 2024 at Seattle. Since then, he has played for the Fort Collins Foxes in 2024, and then last year he spent some time in the Pioneer League. He goes to that outside corner, missing the zone on the first pitch. It is 1-0 to Norman.
Well, the Pioneer League is actually an MLB affiliate league, so you'll see a lot of players that are in that league that are actually top prospects that will later, some of them later to go get drafted. It's a really competitive league that they have a lot of very quality players and quality teams, for that matter, that compete in that league.
And you could say that facing this guy works to the Larks' advantage. When we were just talking about guys that used to play college baseball that play in the NBC World Series, this is perfect for the Larks right now. They got a runner on, 2 outs, and Norman has a 1-1 count. This one goes up high, and Hutch Russell's going to advance, just jogging to second on the pass ball. It's a tied count now to the Western Kentucky commit. The Larks looking to get that 1 run home with 2 outs. So far this season, the Larks are 8-3 in series deciding games. And for the Collegians, they are 2-5. Here's the 2-1, and that's a big swing and a miss there. The count is evened up. Norman's just the 4th batter at the plate this inning. Hutch Russell has a lead over at second base. Here's the pitch. This one gets fouled back into the net. And now Norman awaits pitch number 6. Fillinger's playing closest to that second base bag. Here's the 2-2. That one goes upstairs. And now Norman has a full count. Russell got on through a walk over at second base. His was on a 3-1 count. This is the payoff pitch right here. And Norman fouls it out of play. Norman had 5 plate appearances last night. He got on once through a walk. He's had 8 walks in his last 4 games. Now Ethan Brown looking for his first strikeout of the game in his first league game with the Collegians. And another one gets fouled out of play. That's 3 foul balls for Tanner Norman since the full count. If Norman gets on base, Austin Crawford will be up next. Now here's pitch number 9, and there's ball 4. A good job there by Tanner Norman to read the pitcher, stay alive, and then get the walk. There's runners at first and second for Austin Crawford to work with.
Yeah, and I think for Ethan Brown, he's got to be careful not to fall too complacent. I think we saw that a little bit in his performance that we saw in Game 1 of this series, where he started to give up a lot of walks, and that really came back to bite the Collegians later in that contest. That game got out of hand really quickly whenever those walks just started being strung along.
The first pitch to Crawford gets into the strike zone, and it starts 0-1. Well, really in this entire series we've seen from both teams that you have to make sure that nothing snowballs. Like, the Larks were able to get a 16-3 win by getting walked 18 times, and for the Collegians last night, they scored their runs off of 3 home runs, and then the Larks were unable to fight back in that game.
Yeah, and what can you really do in a 3 home run game from a team? There's not a whole lot you can actually really, or 2 home run game, 3 home run, I guess, apologize. What can you really do in a contest like that? There's only so much you can really do as a team to, prevent a defeat in a situation like that, especially with one of those home runs being a 3-run homer.
The count now stands at 2-1 to Austin Crawford. He is one of two new players in the lineup tonight, along with Dylan Hazelhorst, who's on deck. Dylan Hazelhorst is the last batter in the Larks order. Here's the 2-1. A big swing and a miss. And that's strike two.
I really think that we talked about it last night, but runners in scoring position was a big challenge for the Larks last night, being able to hit with runners in scoring position, I guess I should say. They stranded a lot of guys on the base paths, and despite having a lot of hits in the contest, they just weren't able to drive the guys home. And it was just a really challenging, slow-going game last night for the Larks, and I can imagine it was a pretty frustrating loss, but all they can really do is just look to today and look to bounce back here in this performance.
It's a second full count in a row for the Larks against number 28, Ethan Brown. Norman walked on a full count, which was a 9-pitch plate appearance just a moment ago. Now we'll see how Brown approaches against Crawford. The payoff pitch goes to the plate, and it is left high and outside, and the bases are loaded for Dylan Hazelhorst. Hutch Russell's at third. Tanner Norman is at second.
Well, here's where things can get a little uncomfy for a pitcher, especially with the bases loaded. You have both of the outs that you need. You just need one more. All you can really ask for here as a coach is just to generate a pop fly out into the outfield, or even a routine ground ball into the infield. As a pitcher, you can't get too into your head, especially when you've got the bases loaded. It's very easy for pitchers to do that sometimes, to fall through under the pressure.
First pitch misses the zone there to Hazelhorst, starting the count with a ball. Hazelhorst has played in 11 games as a catcher. This is his 12th of the night. In 31 at-bats, his average is .452. Now here's the 1-0, and that's a swing and a miss for strike one. Hazelhorst is the sixth batter at the plate this inning after 3 appeared in the bottom of the first. Brown gets set, delivers, and he gets that one into the zone. He's ahead 1-2. Brown struck out 27 batters in his career at Seattle. That was 40 games across 3 seasons. And he did not play in 2020 as a redshirt or in 2023, which that one was because of an injury. Here's the 1-2, and that one goes up high for a ball. Brown shaking his head no a couple times to his catcher, Adams. He now comes set. He kicks and deals on a full windup. And this one will be chopped foul, just barely getting behind the third base foul line.
That's really kind of what the Collegians were looking for in that situation. They were probably just hoping that one would roll fair instead of that one going foul, because that would have been an easy out for to get them out of this jam that they're in right now.
Count remains 2-2 to Hazelhorst. Looking to bring the runs home. The pitch is on its way. This one's a pass ball. And that is going to score from third base, Hutch Russell, and advance the other 2 runners as well. The Larks are on the board first in their home finale. Hutch Russell advanced 2 bases there after walking on pass balls. Now Hazelhorst can get on base with one more pitch. Brown comes set. He delivers. And there is ball 4. Hazelhorst loads the bases up once again for Max Flowers. Flowers trying to rebound after grounding out in the first inning. Last night, Flowers was 1 for 4 with a single and a run. The catcher wants the pitch right down the middle. Flowers fouls it back into the net. The count is 0-1. When Flowers put the ball in play on that ground out, that was on an 0-1 count as well. It's a left-handed batter facing the left-handed arm of Ethan Brown. Goes to his full windup, and this one hits Flowers in the head. And time will be called. And now Frank Leo will head out to home plate to make sure Flowers is okay. And we will step away for just a moment as they take a look at that. Welcome back, everybody, to Larks Park. Just a second ago, Max Flowers was facing an 0-1 count and got hit in the head by a pitch. But he is going to still go to first base, and that's really good to see. A run was scored as well, so the score is now 2-0.
Well, there's certainly a reason that they wear helmets in baseball, and that is one of those right there. That was really scary there for Max Flowers. It's good to see him up and all right. And obviously there was no ill intent from Ethan Brown there on that pitch. It just got away from him. It happens, and it's just part of the game, unfortunately.
Holtorf hits a fly ball into the left center gap, but getting there in time is File. And the bases will be left loaded here in the bottom of the second inning, but the Larks are on the board first, scoring 2 runs from Hutch Russell and Tanner Norman. And we'll be back in a second for the top of the third inning here on the Larks Network. Larks score 2 runs and lead the bases loaded in the bottom of the second inning. Trent Baker is back on the mound, and the first pitch of the inning is a hit from Riley Hall. He will be held up at first base, and he's got the first hit of the game for either team. That'll take us now to number 22, Kyler Adams, a new player tonight for the Collegians. Adams is playing catcher, and he is a junior at Dakota Wesleyan that's originally from Erie, Colorado. First pitch to him is going to go past Tanner Norman and roll into right field. That was a perfectly placed ball there by Kyler Adams. Didn't have a lot of power on it, but he placed it perfectly in between Tanner Norman and Hutch Russell, and no one was able to reach it in time. That brings up number 16, Jack File, the left fielder who hit one of the 3 home runs last night from the Collegians. His was in the 8th inning, and it was a 3-run home run. The freshman from Haverford College awaits the pitch from Baker, and it goes off to the side for ball 1. The Collegians will be back to the top of their order after this with Britton Fox, Parker Noah, and Yale Johnson. Baker kicks and deals, and there's a swing and a miss for strike 1. Riley Hall is at second base. Kyler Adams is at first. Collegians trying to get on the board for the first time tonight. They went 3 up, 3 down in the first and second inning, and now time is called, and Dylan Hazlehorse is going to walk to the mound. Through those first 2 innings for Trent Baker, he recorded 2 strikeouts, and the other 4 outs were recorded with the help of his fielders. That included 3 groundouts and a fly out to left field. Now File holds his silver bat up. Baker took a look back at second base, and he deals a strike on the 1-1 count. One and two as the senior from Choctaw looks for the first out of the inning. He's still watching the runner at second base. That's Riley Hall. And this one's chopped over to Rainer Bean. Or correction, that's Austin Crawford, and he throws it down to first. And that is out number 1. That sends Riley Hall to third and Kyler Adams to second. I apologize. I've been used to seeing Rainer Bean play at third base in this series, but Austin Crawford is manning that position tonight. Now 2 runners are in scoring position with 1 out. And it brings up number 15, Britton Fox, the senior out of Holy Family High School in Broomfield, Colorado. Baker's first pitch to him is a line drive into foul territory. It starts the count off 0-1. We have played 43 minutes of game time so far. This one started at 6:10. The temperature has dropped slightly, but the humidity still makes it feel very hot in the mid-90s.
Well, let me tell you, I got to the golf course this morning at about 10:40 or so and played a full 18 holes, and, man, it was blisteringly hot out today, and I can only imagine how warm it is out there on the turf right now.
It's not going to be any nicer to the Larks tomorrow. They'll play in Dodge City. And now here's a hit into right field, and Boulder is on the board, and they have a chance to tie it. Riley Hall scores it. Right before that, he picked up the bat, and Kyler Adams slides in after him. It's a 2 RBI single for Britton Fox. to tie the game up. Now up is the second baseman, Parker Noah. Noah struck out against Baker with 3 strikes thrown in that at-bat. And he pops this one up, and it lands behind the grandstand, starting the count off 0-1. Looking at what the weather is going to be like in Dodge City tomorrow night, it is the high for tomorrow in Dodge is 97, but that is on a turf field, so that you'd raise that anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees hotter than what it is. On the 0-1, Crawford throws it to second base, a chance for a double play, and the Larks turn it. It is a 5-4-3 double play to end the inning, but we now have a tie game. Boulder scores 2 after both of those guys got singles, and Britton Fox brings them home. We'll be back to Larks Park here in just a second. Boulder records the first 3 hits of tonight's game and scores 2 runs to tie things up. Now they send Ethan Brown back out to face the 3-4-5 batters for the Larks. The count is 0-1. It is Rainer Bean followed by Sean Keenan and Hutch Russell. The Larks scored their 2 runs in the last inning as well. All those were without hits recorded. 4 batters were walked, and another run was scored because of a hit by a pitch. And now Bean has to battle back. He's down 0-2. Bean faced a 1-2 count in his first appearance. That was a pop out on the right side of the infield. Here's the next pitch, and that is left up high for the first ball. Again, this is a new spot for Ethan Brown, his first start with the Collegians after a relief appearance for him 2 nights ago in what was a non-league game. Now he deals another ball, and it's now 2-2. catcher wants the outside corner on the pitch. It's on its way. And this one is hit high in the air into left field. File walks up to it. And it comes down into his glove for out number 1. That brings up number 7, Sean Keenan for the Larks. Is another Larks left-hander facing the left-handed arm of Ethan Brown. Brown is a 3-year collegiate veteran who also has played in the RMBL for the Fort Collins Foxes, and we mentioned he played for an MLB affiliate league, the Pioneer League. Keenan's going to be ahead 1-0 with 1 out. Catcher puts his glove low. Here's the full windup, and this one Keenan has to duck down for, and it's now 2-0.
Yeah, you saw Keenan shake his head a little bit. Obviously, Max Flowers just in the last inning was hitting the head in that same spot in that right-handed or the left-handed batter's box rather. So I'm sure there's a little bit of frustration from the Larks side of that, just considering that's the second time now that this time was a very close call.
You've been pointing it out that Ethan Brown has kind of an odd throwing motion where he almost goes in steps and then stops for each one to throw the ball.
Yeah, it's very snappy. Every single
That's the word, yep.
Yeah, every single movement in his windup is very rigid and snappy. And I think as a left-handed pitcher, he probably struggles a little bit to get that ball to come back over across the plate when he's facing a left-handed batter.
That was his first strike there. First strike right there to Keenan. It's now 3-1. The infield playing a little bit further back for the Collegians. Here's the next pitch. It goes off to the side, and Keenan's on base for the first time tonight. The Larks have had a total of 6 guys now get on base. All of them have either walked or were hit by a pitch.
So starting to feel a little bit like Game 1 of this series, where there wasn't a whole lot of offense generated by the Larks in terms of hits, but they were able to just essentially mow down their opponent just purely because they were able to have quality at bats where they were able to generate walks.
Hutch Russell now out to bat, starts with a 1-0 count. He scored the first run of tonight's game. He was walked on a 3-1 count, and both times that he advanced on the base path, other than a different walk that advanced him to third base, he advanced on pass balls. The next pitch goes up high. The count is 2-0. Russell was walked 3 times last night. He's another Lark that has been walked 8 times in his last 4 games, along with Tanner Norman, and both of them have been walked already tonight. 2 balls and 1 strike to the KU commit out of Seminole State Community College. Riley Hall is covering first base. Brown looked over there, but he will deal a strike on a swing and a miss to Russell. And it's now 2-2. Brown's still in search of that first strikeout. He's gotten a few Larks to that 2-strike count already tonight, including a few full counts. He delivers, goes to that outside corner, and it's ball 3. There were 3 Larks with a full count in the second inning. All of them walked, one of them scored. Adams still wants the pitch low, and the payoff pitch is on its way. This one is hit over to the second baseman, Noah. He throws it to second to get the lead runner out, and the throw to first is not going to – there was no throw, actually. Russell reaches on a fielder's choice. And the third out was just recorded, and there's some confusion there for Hutch Russell. Ben Tinius and Frank Leo are now coming out as well. I'm not sure what happened. Were you able to see what it was?
I was looking down at my scorebook, writing something down to denote what happened there. Here's what I'm wondering: if when Hutch Russell ran through the bag, if he came back, there's a rule that if you walk back to the bag on the fair side of the foul line, that you are technically considered that you are showing intent to run over towards second base. I don't know. I wasn't looking at the time, but it's possible their first baseman, Hall, maybe tagged him out there. I don't know. That's the only thing I can possibly think of.
Well, they called the out when there was no throw made yet, so I also kind of wonder if there was contact made between the first baseman and Hutch Russell.
Also possible. I mean, I don't know. That's a really weird situation. I've never seen that before.
We'll let everybody know what happens when we come back. It's the top of the fourth inning when we come back here at Larks Park.
We welcome you back to Larks Park. After conferring with one other person up here in the broadcast booth, we're thinking that Russell may have made a move or a movement towards second base when walking back after running through the bag. So we're going to go with that at the moment. We're going to try to get in contact with the scorekeeper that's down in the dugout, and we'll let you guys know. But at the moment, that's what we saw. Apologies, folks. My microphone's not really wanting to cooperate with me this evening. But up to the plate right at the moment is the designated hitter, Yale Johnson, who's batting in the 3-hole spot for the Collegians tonight. Trent Baker stays on the hill for another inning of work here in the top of the fourth. Nobody out. It's a tie ball game at 2 runs apiece. Baker deals the 0-2. It's chopped foul down the first base line into foul territory. Count remains at 0-2 to Yale Johnson. The 0-2 pitch from Baker. It's a slider that goes way outside for ball 1. Now the 1-2. This one's chopped foul behind the plate. Count now moves to 2 apiece. Baker turns and deals the 1-2 pitch. It's grounded over to Russell. Russell picks it up on a hop, throws it over to Norman at first, and there's one away. That brings up the shortstop, number 7, Ethan Fillinger. He bats in the 4-hole spot. And then, of course, Caden Cooper, the right fielder, on deck now. On deck now for the Collegians. The 0-1 chopped up the middle and bounces out into the outfield grass for a base hit. Fillinger now stands on first base, and the Collegians have their first base runner of the inning. Now the right fielder, Caden Cooper, steps up to the dish. Cooper 0 for 1 tonight with a fly out to left field in his first at bat. Runner on first in the top of the fourth and one out for the Larks. First pitch from Baker. The first pitch from Baker is a strike that dots the outer half of the strike zone. Baker looks back to first base. Pitching out of the stretch now, he deals the 0-1. This one misses high and away for ball one. One ball and one strike to count. Cooper waves his bat just behind his black helmet. Baker will make a throw back to first base. Fillinger slides in head first, safely over at first base. Now the 1-1 out of the stretch. That one upstairs. Hazelhorse had to come out of his stance to retrieve that ball to keep it from becoming a pass ball. 2 balls and 1 strike now the count to Caden Cooper. Baker looks over to first. Comes set, looks home, now deals the 2-1. This one's popped up into foul territory. It'll go out of play right next to the Larks bullpen. The count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Fillinger slowly walking back to first base. Baker shakes his head no. Takes a look back to first base. Now deals the 2-2. This one's chopped down to right field. It'll break into the outfield grass for a base hit. Runners on first and second now for the Collegians with 1 out.
It feels like a majority of their hits have gone to that spot right in between Tanner Norman and Hutch Russell. They've done a good job with their ball placement in tonight's game.
It's a very difficult skill to learn. Ball placement is something that can be a crapshoot at times. But it seems like tonight the Collegians have got it figured out. That brings up the third baseman, Logan Carney. He grounded out to second base his first time up. The first pitch is high and inside to Carney for ball one. The 1-0 is chopped up the middle. It's fielded by Stokes. He steps on second base. He throws it over to first. It's a 6-3 double play. The Larks are able to turn 2. They get out of the inning. They strand 1 on the base paths, and they put up a 0 in the top of the 4th. We're still tied at 2 apiece here in Hayes. We welcome you back to Larks Park. Leading things off for the Larks, the 8th Street Liquor Beverage batter, Tabor Stokes, steps up to the plate. A new pitcher on the hill for the Collegians now. Jacob Amador enters the game after Ethan Brown goes 3 innings on no hits and 2 runs allowed. Amador's first pitch to Stokes is upstairs for a ball.
And I'm going to say real fast that we got some confirmation from our scorekeeper of what happened in the previous inning where Hutch Russell got out. We were talking about the fact that he might have hit the first baseman or turned the wrong way. Apparently, the call was that he missed first.
Certainly an interesting ruling. It's very rare that you see guys at this level of baseball missing bags, but you never know. It's very possible. It happens. The 2-0. That one misses well inside on Stokes, and the count moves to 3-0. Amador deals the 3-0 pitch. It's a slider over the outer half for a strike. Three balls and 1 strike to count. Stokes at the ready. The pitch. This one missing inside on Stokes. He twirls his bat back to the dugout and takes a jog down to first base, and it's a base on balls and a leadoff walk to Tabor Stokes. That brings up the first baseman, Tanner Norman. Norman 0 for 1 on the night. Reached on a walk his first time up. Runner on first, so nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th. The first pitch to the lefty, Norman, is way inside. Norman had to jump out of the way. The count now 0-1 to Tanner Norman. Seems like that left-handed batter's box has been a hot place to be for pitchers tonight. Especially for the Larks players. Tanner Norman looked over to the home plate umpire there for just a moment, kind of had a moment of just relief that he wasn't wearing that pitch. The 1-0. This one upstairs and outside for ball 2. Amador nods his head once. He comes set and deals the 2-0. This one's fouled behind the plate by Norman. The count moves to 2 balls and 1 strike. Two balls and 1 strike to count to the first baseman, Norman. Norman waves his bat behind his helmet. The 2-1 pitch is down and in for ball 3. Now, the Collegians have very interesting uniforms on this evening, and I'm speculating it's an alter identity or an alternative identity for this Collegians team. We'll get to that in just a moment. The 3-1. Misses inside. Norman will take a walk down to first. That's 2 straight walks for the new pitcher, Jacob Amador, and now the Larks have runners on first and second. So the uniforms, they've got very interesting markings on them. It says 64 on their jersey, and I would imagine that's some sort of alternative identity of some sort, whether that was when they're founded or something, but they're in red, white, and blue. Of course, it's pretty apparent, obviously. You can see that aspect of it, but they've got stars across kind of the upper half of the jersey, and then they've got stripes over the bottom, I'd say, about third of the jersey. And then they've got gray bottoms, and then they have their regular Boulder Collegians black caps on. So interesting jerseys, to say the least. I initially thought maybe they were America 250 jerseys or something that they were doing, but it looks to me to be an alternate identity.
Yeah, the 64s was what they were named last year when they were in the Front Range League, and it's in reference to the year that they were founded, which was 1964.
I figured there had been some correlation there with the year of 1964, but I didn't want to over-speculate. But I appreciate that you have that little nugget of information there. So runners on first and second for the Larks, nobody out. And the third baseman, Austin Crawford, up to the plate. He takes a strike over the inner half for the first pitch of the at-bat. Amador looks home, and he comes set. Looks back to second base, deals the 0-1. Misses outside for ball one. Austin Crawford so far in the contest 0 for 1, but like many of the other batters in the order, reached on a walk in his first at-bat in the bottom of the second inning. Crawford with an open stance in the left-handed batter's box. Awaits the 1-1, the pitch. Crawford leaves it upstairs for ball two. Crawford tonight making an appearance at third base. We've seen him there over there a little bit more recently, as him and Hutch Russell have kind of not necessarily swapped places, but Hutch Russell's been moved over to second base, and now Crawford has recently started to fill those shoes over at third. Now the 2-1 is belted out into right field. It'll go down into the grass for a base hit. The runner from third is sent ahead for slide at home is in time. The Larks have their go-ahead run. They lead it 3-2. An RBI single for Austin Crawford. And the Larks still have runners on first and second with nobody out.
And they're doing very good against this new pitcher, Jacob Amador, so they need to continue to find ways to make contact or continue to show discipline at the plate, because that right there from Austin Crawford was the first hit of the game.
It's crazy to think that that was the first hit of the game for the Larks, but Crawford slides in after trying to get an early jump on this sacrifice bunt attempt from Dylan Hazelhorse at home plate. All that said, it's very reminiscent, again, of that contest of the first game of the series on Friday night, where there were very little hits, but the Larks still were managed to score 16 total runs in the contest. Hazelhorse awaits the 0-1. Hazelhorse shows bunt, and it goes into the turf, and it's fielded on a bounce out in foul territory by the catcher in Adams. Hazelhorse now facing an 0-2 count, so the bunt is more than likely, I guess, a 1-1 count, according to the home plate umpire. I was referring out to the scoreboard out in right field, so 1-1 count. That changes things. Now the bunt is not necessarily off the table for Dylan Hazelhorse. The 1-1. Hazelhorse shows bunt. It trickles up the middle. The pitcher in Amador fields it. The throw over to first base is not in time. Dylan Hazelhorse beats out the throw. It's ruled a hit, and the bases are loaded now.
When he put the bunt down there, Riley Hall, the first baseman, came running up as well, so there was no one there to cover first, and they had to rely on Parker Noah to get there in time, and he couldn't.
So it'll be a bunt single for Dylan Hazelhorse, and that'll bring back up the top of the order. Max Flowers, the center fielder, is back up to the plate now. Flowers, of course, in his last at-bat was drilled in the helmet with a pitch. Seems to be doing all right since then, and he feels great after that one. He drills one out to right, and he'll score 2 runs. A 2 RBI single for Max Flowers.
What have we talked about in this series? When one thing can happen, it can snowball afterwards. You're seeing it right now.
That seems to be the name of the game for the Larks this season. It just takes one little event, one little thing to get this team pumped up, and all of a sudden the plethora of runs start to be poured on. And now the Larks have runners on first and third on the corners with nobody out and a 3-run lead now. They lead at 5-2. So Hazelhorst now is all the way over to third base. Flowers is over at first. And Cooper Holtorf, who starts the count with a 1-0 count, is at home plate in an attempt to keep the rally going here. Amador comes set, the 1-0. Runner will go from first. Max Flowers slides in safely with no throw from home plate. The pitch was ruled a ball, so now it's a 2-0 count to the left fielder Holtorf. And the Larks now have 2 runners in scoring position.
Kyler Adams decided not to throw that ball because they have the runner at third, and the Collegians need to make sure that they start to get the outs and make sure they don't allow any more runs.
Amador comes set, the 2-0. Drops its way over to the inner half of the plate for a strike. Two balls and 1 strike to count to Cooper Holtorf. The 2-1. This one's popped up high and out of play. It'll go into the parking lot of doom. And the count moves to 2-2. The Larks, who struggled to get base runners home last night, has done quite the opposite here in this one. Only 3 runners stranded on the base path so far this evening. All the way up to the bottom of the 4th, that is. And so far they've done a pretty good job here in this one to clean up the base paths when they can. It's a 2-2 count now to the left fielder Holtorf. Amador comes set. The 2-2. This one down and away. Holtorf waves his hand over to Dylan Hazelhorst to tell him to stay over to third as that pitch went into the turf for ball 3. Full count now to Holtorf. Amador shakes his head once, no. Finally settles on a pitch that he wants. The payoff pitch. This one's fouled high into the air over the top of the press box, and we'll do it again. Holtorf at the ready. Amador settling into his stance. He deals the payoff pitch once again. It's down and away, and that's a base on balls for Cooper Holtorf. The bases are loaded once again, and the designated hitter Rainer Bean is coming up to the plate. Bean certainly due for a hit here in this one. He starts the night 0 for 2 on a ground out and a fly out. Amador comes set. Deals the first pitch. It's well inside on the designated hitter. Bean starts the count 1-0. Bean adjusts his front right sleeve. Now grips his black bat with his white batting gloves. The 1-0 pitch drops over the outer half of the plate for a strike. Could visually see Rainer Bean shaking his head, nodding his head yes. After seeing that pitch, you wonder what adjustment he might make here. The 1-1. Bean dribbles that one over to the shortstop. They'll try to turn two. They'll get it. It's a 6-4-3 double play off of a flip from Fillinger over to Noah, who made the throw across the diamond to Hall. And that was a very much needed double play for the Collegians. It will still score one, so Bean will have what will go down as an RBI double play, or I guess an RBI ground out, I guess I should say. And Sean Keenan now, the right fielder, will step up to the plate. Now just a runner on third with two away here in the bottom of the fourth. This one's blooped into shallow left field. Tracking it down is the third baseman, who reaches his arm sky high and makes the catch for out number 3. The Larks strand one in the bottom of the fourth. They lead it 6-2 after scoring 4 runs in the bottom of the fourth. To the top of the fifth we go when we come back on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to Larks Park. Leading things off for the Collegians, the first baseman Riley Hall steps up to the plate. Hall is 1 for 1 on the night. He had a single in the top of the third inning, which accounted for one of the 2 runs that the Larks have been able to tack on this evening. Or the Collegians, rather, not the Larks. Hall starts the count 1-1. Baker remains on the hill. He deals the pitch. It is chopped foul behind home plate. Now it's a 1-2 count in favor of Trent Baker. Baker will step back off the rubber as a ball girl will go retrieve a ball behind home plate. Home plate umpire holds up the count 1-2. Baker out of the stretch. The pitch. This one's left upstairs by Hall. The count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Baker holds his black mitt right in front of his face, brings it down to his belt, now deals the 2-2. Got him on the outside half of the plate. Strike 3. It's a backwards K for Trent Baker. That brings up the catcher, Kyler Adams, up to the plate. Kyler Adams also accounts for one of the 2 runs the Collegians have tacked on here in this game. Adams also reached on a single here in the contest. He takes the first pitch over the outer half for a strike. Adams takes a breath and steps back in the box. The 0-1 out of the stretch from Baker. That one's popped up out into center field. Underneath it is Flowers. He makes the catch, and there's 2 away. I misspoke. I said out of the stretch. I meant to say out of the full windup. Baker has been pitching out of the full windup whenever there are not base runners on the base paths. Now the left fielder, Jack File, comes up to the plate. File 0 for 1 in the contest. He grounded out to second base his first time up. Or, excuse me, third base his first time up. He starts the count 0-1. The pitch from Baker. This one misses upstairs. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count to File. File is appearing in tonight's lineup in left field. The 0-1 to him is outside for a ball. It's now 2 balls and 1 strike. Baker deals. He grazes the outer half of the plate. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Baker turns. Deals the 2-2, a big swing and a miss, and that's 2 Ks for Trent Baker in the top of the 5th inning. The Larks are able to force the Collegians to go 3 up, 3 down in the top of the 5th. We go to the bottom of the 5th when we come back on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to Larks Park. Leading things off for the Larks here in the top of the fifth inning, the bottom of the fifth inning. The only batter who didn't have a go in the bottom of the fourth, and that's Hutch Russell, the second baseman. He steps up to the plate. He twirls his bat a couple times through the zone as he stands in the left-handed batter's box. Jacob Amador remains on the hill. He stands at the ready. The pitch from the stretch. A slider over the inner half of the plate for a strike. A righty-lefty matchup. Russell facing an 0-1 count. Amador comes set and deals. This one misses outside for ball one. Amador comes set. Now the pitch. The 1-1 missing down and in on Russell. 2 balls and 1 strike to count. Nobody on and nobody out here in the bottom of the fifth. Larks hold a 4-run lead over the Collegians with a score of 6-2. The 2-1 is drilled over to the first baseman who snags it just before it was about to collide with the turf. Riley Hall makes a pretty nice snag over off the, the right corner of the infield. Now there's one away with Tabor Stokes, the shortstop, up to the plate. First pitch to the shortstop is down and away for a ball. Stokes adjusts his batting gloves, taps his black bat on home plate, and twirls it through the zone. The 1-0 from Amador. The slider missing down and away. Now it's 2 balls and no strikes. Stokes 0 for 2 in the contest. Has reached base once on a walk and then flew out to right field in his first at bat. The 2-0 is drilled out to left field. It'll go over the top of Carney over at third base. Stokes is wheeling for second. He'll get in there standing up on the second base bag, and Tabor Stokes, the 8th Street Liquor beverage batter, has got a double to start the bottom of the 5th inning.
Already here in the 5th inning, the Larks are putting a lot of power off the bat, and there's another one. It's gone to both corners. Hutch Russell got out, but Stokes was not getting out. That one was over the head of Carney.
And I wish we had exit velo statistics in this ballpark because that thing was a rocket off the bat. That thing came smoking off the barrel of his bat, and he squared up on that pitch perfectly and just read it really well and was able to get himself some extra bases. That thing went all the way out into the left field corner, out by that 322 mark on the left foul pole.
I wonder if we'll be able to see some of that stuff at the NBC because it is a Division I baseball stadium, and they were tracking pitch velocities last year. It was not properly calibrated, I'll say, but it's still cool to have it.
Norman now up to the dish for the Larks. He fouled away the first pitch, and he faces an 0-1 count. 1 runner in scoring position for the Larks. Norman at the ready. Amador comes set. Now deals. The 0-1 just missing by a hair over the outer half of the plate. Amador pitches out of the stretch no matter what. It doesn't matter whether there's runners on or not. So it's the same look every single time for the Larks lineup. Norman fouls away a pitch that came in below the ankles. And I think it may have even tagged one of his legs or maybe even his ankle. And there was some frustration there from him, as I don't think that felt very good on the ankles. He doesn't wear an ankle guard. A lot of guys elect to wear that ankle guard, at least on their front foot, just in protection of a foul ball that might bounce onto the turf and hit him. Norman now faces a 1-2 count after that foul ball. The pitch. This one misses outside for a ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count to the first baseman, Norman. Norman 0 for 2 on the night, but has scored 2 of the 6 Larks runs this evening. He reached base twice so far this evening on a walk. The 2-2 misses outside once again. Full count now to Tanner Norman. There's a good amount of Larks fans trickling back into the seats now, all of which have their hands full of adult beverages after they had to restock after that 8th Street Liquor Beverage batter Tabor Stokes hit.
You got to get as much as you can tonight. This is the last game of 2026.
The payoff pitch is fouled away into the net, and we'll do it again. And I've also seen a fair amount of soccer jerseys in the stands tonight. Of course, the World Cup final was just before this game. Of course, if you didn't see the result, Argentina fell to Spain in extra time by a score of 1-0. The 3-2 is down and in on Norman. And now for the 3rd time tonight, Tanner Norman will reach on a walk. So with runners on first and second and 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Austin Crawford steps up to the plate. Crawford has an RBI single on the night and a walk, so he's reached base twice and has gone 1 for 2 so far on the evening. First pitch of the at-bat is popped up into shallow left. Running it down is File. He makes the catch. And that was a very long run for File, but nonetheless, he was able to get underneath it for out number 2 of the inning.
That was kind of 50-50 if that was going to land in fair or foul territory. All I'm going to say is File was booking it to get that ball.
The risk you run on a play like that for File is if it lands in fair territory and you overrun the ball because you're running so fast to try and make the catch, you risk giving up extra bases in that situation. So that's a really high-stakes play there for File. Props to him to be able to make that catch. Hazelhorst, the catcher, up to the plate now for the Larks. The first pitch to the right-handed batter is outside for a ball. Runners on first and second, now 2 away here in the bottom of the 5th. The Larks have a 4-run advantage by a score of 6-2. Amador settles into the rubber. The 1-0. Slider that comes across the middle of the plate for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to the catcher, Hazelhorst. Amador looks back to second. The 1-1 is a big swing and a miss from Hazelhorst. I'm sure he wishes he could have that pitch back, as he was swinging at a pitch that was well below his knees that would have been a ball. Hazelhorst now down on the count, 1-2. The pitch from Amador. Got him looking up the pipe, snuck it by him for strike 3. The Larks strand 2 in the bottom of the 5th inning. They lead it 6-2 going into the top of the sixth when we come back on the Larks Network. Well, it's the top of the sixth inning, and Trent Baker still remains on the hill. He's pitched a pretty consistent and efficient game so far in the contest. He's only given up 5 hits, but out of those 5 hits, only 2 of those runners have scored. The first pitch to the leadoff batter, Britton Fox, the top of the order for the Collegians, swings and misses the first pitch for a strike. The 0-1 from Baker. Misses outside, 1 ball and 1 strike now. Fox is 1 for 2 in the contest. He struck out swinging his first at bat. Was able to produce a 2 RBI single in his second at bat. That 2 RBI single accounted for both of those runs that have been scored by the Collegians, as now he hits one into right field. It'll trickle its way through the outfield grass for an outfield single. And Britton Fox, the leadoff hitter, is on with a leadoff single.
And there it was again, that same spot right between the first and second baseman. It's been really impressive to see the Collegians been able to hit so consistently in that spot alone.
And I'm pretty certain that's actually the same spot that he hit that 2 RBI single his last time up. So seems to be a comfortable spot for him to hit to. Now the 2-hole hitter, Parker Noah, is up to the plate. The second baseman takes the first pitch low for a ball. Nobody out here in the top of the sixth inning. A little bit of action over there in the Larks bullpen at the moment. We'll see if Frank Leo elects to bring in the reinforcements from the bullpen at some point, as Trent Baker hits the elbow guard of Parker Noah, so that'll go down as a hit by pitch. And we'll send Parker Noah down to first base for the first time this evening. So now there's runners on first and second with nobody out here in the top of the sixth inning, and it looks like there'll be a meeting on the mound with Trent Baker. All the infield in to have a chat with Baker. Of course, Hank mentioned at the start of this contest, this is likely to be Trent Baker's last game at Larks Park. Certainly his last game as a Lark at Larks Park. You can imagine what this game means to him with as long as he's been with the organization and the amount of times that we've gotten to interview him and hear about what this team and what this community really means to him. And You can tell the guys that return year after year really truly care about the community here in Hayes.
It's just always been so fun to watch him play here at Larks Park. I don't know what his plan is next, but whatever it is, it's going to be interesting to watch. I've heard some rumors that he's going to try to play overseas. I don't know how factual that is. That's just what I've heard.
Runners on first and second. Baker throws over to second base and a pickoff move. That was really close. From back here, that looked like he might have gotten the runner out at second base, but of course the umpire out there in the field has a much better angle on it than we do up here in the press box. The first pitch of the at-bat to the three-hole hitter, Yale Johnson, is fouled out of play behind the press box. And now Baker steps back onto the rubber in preparation to deal the 0-1 pitch. Baker looks back to second and delivers. Slider misses outside into the turf for ball one. Baker looks back to Hazelhorst for the signal. He comes set. Now pitching out of the stretch. He deals the 1-1. This time the slider hits that outer half of the plate. I think that's what he was going for in the pitch before that. This time he's able to paint the outer half of the plate for a strike. The count now sits at 1-2. The 1-2 pitch is left upstairs by Johnson. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Larks looking for their first out of the 6th inning. Runners on first and second. Larks still hold that 4-run advantage by a score of 6-2. This one's chopped into foul territory, and we'll do it again. That one initially off the bat of Yale Johnson looked like it had a chance to just dribble down that third base line. But it bounced with enough spin on the turf that it sent that ball into foul territory just in front of the Larks dugout. The 2-2 from Baker. This time it's a curveball that breaks out into the outfield after a diving attempt from Crawford just slips past him. Oh, what an effort from Austin Crawford. He almost got a glove on that ball, but it just snuck past the very end of his glove. And now the bases are juiced for the Collegians. That brings up a shortstop batting in the 4-hole spot, number 7, Ethan Fillinger. Fillinger 1 for 2 in the contest. He grounded out to short in his first at-bat and was able to reach on a single in his last at-bat. The first pitch to Fillinger is down and in for a ball. Fillinger stands on that back line in the right-handed batter's box. Baker comes set in the stretch. He deals the 0-1. This one low and outside for ball 2. Baker looking to home plate. Looks back to second. Now deals the 2-0. The 2-0 is slider that misses outside. You wonder if Baker is starting to get a little bit fatigued on the hill. Has to throw a strike here. The 3-0. Paints the inside edge for strike 1. Baker comes set, looks back to second. Now he deals the 3-1. A slider that paints the outer half. And Baker has fought his way back into this at bat. He's got a 3-2 count now against the shortstop Fillinger. The payoff pitch. Miss is outside. He tried to go back to the slider and didn't have enough command over it. And now Brady Kreitzer, who's temporarily serving as the Larks pitching coach, will make a visit out to Trent Baker, and I would expect that Trent Baker's day may be coming to a close. Looks like that will be the case. We'll step aside for just a moment. When we come back, a new pitcher on the hill. Welcome you back to Larks Park. There's a new man on the hill, and it is Hunter Cogill. Steps up to the hill in relief for Trent Baker. Baker comes out of the contest after pitching 5 innings on 7 hits allowed, 3 runs, no home runs, 1 base on balls, and 4 strikeouts. The first pitch to the 5-hole hitter, Caden Cooper, is down and in for a ball. Cogill comes set. The 1-0. This one's blooped into shallow left field. It'll take a bounce and then goes into the glove of Holtorf. He throws it over to third base, and it'll be a force out at third. So the runner that was standing on third base, which was number 17, Parker Noah, will score, and that'll be an RBI single for Caden Cooper. But Yale Johnson was thrown out in the process. That brings up the 6-hole hitter, Logan Carney, the third baseman. 0 for 2 in the contest, grounded out to second base his first time up, and then hit into a double play in his second attempt. The 1-0. That one left upstairs for ball 2. The 2-0 is chopped over to the third baseman, Crawford. He throws it over to second. The throw over to first is in time. 5-4-3 double play, and now an altercation on the field. Oh, my. Oh, my, there's a brawl. And now the umpires are here to break it up. There are bodies everywhere in between second and first base over right where would have been Hutch Russell was standing over at second base. The benches are cleared from both sides. Neither bullpen with a soul inside. And from what I could see, it looked like that the runner coming from first, Caden Cooper, may have chirped at Hutch Russell after Russell stepped on second base and threw over to first. And I don't know, maybe there was some contact there or some extracurriculars after the play, but the umpires have seemed to clear everything up now, and everybody's going back into place. But there is gear scattered all over the field. So while they all get cleaned up, we're going to step aside for just a moment. The Larks lead it 6-4 going into the bottom of the sixth. So a new pitcher takes to the hill for the Boulder Collegians. It's number 19, Zach Hall. He comes in to relieve Jacob Amador after there was quite a scuffle on the field. Hank was able to watch back the broadcast, and we've determined that what happened was the runner over at first, which was Cade, went in and slid into Russell's legs over at second base. And Russell, the second baseman, of course, didn't take too kindly to that, and I believe it took him out in the process as he was throwing the ball over to first base. And, of course, Russell from there was pretty heated along with Caden Cooper. Now, to my knowledge, there's been no one that's been thrown out of the game. So I think that the umpires have just kind of let it go, which is, I think, the right decision here in this contest. But obviously that'll be something to keep an eye on later on as some of those other batters like Caden Cooper might be up to the plate. Back to the action now. Max Flowers, the top of the order, drills one out to right. That'll bounce down in front of the right fielder, Caden Cooper. Flowers was running for second. He rounds first and slides head first back into first base. And Max Flowers says, "Thank you very much, I'll take a single."
He placed that perfectly into the right field corner. That's his second hit of the game, and he's been a reliable part in the Larks lineup these last couple of games, especially after being away for a little bit of time.
So Max Flowers is back on base for the second time tonight from a hit. Of course, the third time tonight if you're counting the hit by pitch where he was nailed in the head earlier in the contest. Now Holtorf skies one out into center field. Coming in on his Fox, he makes the catch, and there's one away. Apologies, folks. There's a lot going on right now. We've got a pitcher coming in. We've got, oh my gosh, there's just everything's going on right now. That brings up the designated hitter batting in the 3-hole spot. Rainer Bean up to the plate. Bean is due for a hit. He's 0 for 3 so far in the contest. Grounded out to first base in his first at bat. Flew out to left field in his second and then hit into a double play in the bottom of the 4th inning. The first pitch to Beans, a curveball over the outer half for a strike. Runner on first and one away here in the bottom of the 6th. Larks hold that 2-run advantage by a score of 6-4 after the Collegians were able to tack on 2. And now this one is shot to the moon out in foul territory down the third base line. It'll drop out of play just inside the Larks bullpen. Thankfully, nobody was warming up in there. That would have more than likely hit someone had that dropped down where it did. Rainer Bean now faces an 0-2 count to the new pitcher, Zach Hall. Hall comes set. The left-hander looks over to first base. Now delivers. This one a fastball up in the outer half of the zone. It'll be a blooper. It drops down into right field for a base hit. Bean puts on the brakes. He stops at first. And Max Flowers will hoof all the way over to third base, and the Larks have runners on the corners. That brings up the right fielder batting in the 4-hole spot, Sean Keenan. Keenan 0 for 3 tonight. Reached base once on a walk in the bottom of the 3rd and grounded out and flew out in his other 2 at-bats. And Keenan wears that one on the number of the jersey. And now there's more talk going on as Keenan walks his way over to first base. And the pitcher, Zach Hall, was walking off the mound, starting to kind of close in on Keenan. There are multiple infielders coming in, and now Keenan's chirping over to the dugout. Of course, the Larks faithful showing their distaste for that hit by pitch, and now the umpire's thrown somebody out in the dugout. Somebody got tossed, and I think it was whoever was on the end of the dugout there.
I mean, it's a tough situation for the umpires to be in to try to get this game under control. I mean, you just saw Sean Keenan get hit right there. I believe he almost became the second Larks player to get hit in the head a little bit ago. It already happened to Max Flowers, so obviously there's some frustration. You add that in with the brawl from the last inning. It's a tough situation for really anybody to calm down.
So now the Larks have the bases loaded here in the bottom of the 6th. There's one away. And Hutch Russell is now taken to the mound, or taken to the plate, rather. A big swing and a miss from Hutch Russell at the first pitch of the at-bat. The 0-1 from Hall. This one down and away for a ball. The count 1-1 to Hutch Russell. Of course, Hutch Russell was the one who got slid into over at second base, so the emotions are certainly running high in this game, to say the least. The 1-1. Missing low over the outer half of the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike now the count to the second baseman, Russell. Sean Keenan stands on first. Rainer Beans over at second base, and Max Flowers is 90 feet away over at third base. The 2-1 count. This one skied into the air, over into the grandstand. That will drop into the concourse foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bottom of the 6th inning, Larks have a 2-run lead over the Collegians, 6-4. Hall comes set. The 2-2. This one's chopped over to the second baseman, Noah. He'll run over to Keenan to tag him out on his way over to second, and then they get the force over at first base. And they're going to say he missed the tag on his way over to second. So the runner at second base is safe. So Keenan is safe at second. There's runners on second and third now, 2 runners in scoring position, and Max Flowers comes in and scores off of the RBI from Hutch Russell. So that'll be an RBI fielder's choice for Hutch Russell. And now there's 2 runners in scoring position, and the 8th Street Liquor beverage batter, Tabor Stokes, up to the plate. The first pitch to Stokes paints the inner half of the plate for a strike. Stokes 1 for 3 in the contest. Had a double his last time up in the bottom of the 5th. The 0-1 finds the strike zone for strike 2. Larks now hold a 3-run lead over the Collegians. They lead at 7-4. Hall delivers. Stokes swings and misses. Adams scrambling behind the plate, makes the throw down to first, and that's a strikeout for Zach Hall. The Larks tack on 1 more run after what was a crazy bottom of the 6th inning. They hold a 3-run lead, 7-4 over the Collegians.
Welcome back to Larks Park for the top of the 7th inning. It's the 7-8-9 batters here for the Boulder Collegians facing number 19 Hunter Cogill. The inning is led off by number 24 Riley Hall, the sophomore out of Quincy University. 1 for 2 tonight, and he was the first to score for the Collegians back in the 3rd inning. Here's the first pitch of the inning from Cogill. He drops a curveball in on the inside, and the count is 0-1. Kyler Adams will be up next, and then Jack File and Britton Fox will get Boulder back to the top of their order. Hall now falls behind with 2 strikes, sending that one out of play. Cogill's looking for his first strikeout of the night. This is the 3rd batter that he's facing since coming in, and this is fouled over the press box. Hall will stay alive. Tonight is the 7th game in a row for him where he's gotten at least 1 hit. He's dealt the 0-2, and that catches the inside part of the plate, and there's out number 1. The 2nd backwards K in a row in Riley Hall's row on the scorecard. That'll bring us now to number 22, Kyler Adams, the catcher. Adams, the junior from Dakota Wesleyan, originally from Erie, Colorado. He has a single and a run as well. And he starts behind 0-1. Time is called. And I think there's some more words being said from the first base dugout.
I'm pretty certain that this is just speculation because I can't see around the end of that dugout. But based on what I've seen right as of this evening, the player that got thrown out, he was already in shorts and regular tennis shoes. He was standing on the end of their dugout, just basically right behind that gate, which is not out of the ballpark, but he was thrown out, so he's not in the dugout anymore. Well, he's standing on the end of that gate, and he was kind of walking back and forth at one point, but he was also, I would imagine, probably chirping into the field at some point, would be my guess.
It's tough to say. We've had more chaos in one game than we've had the entire season.
Well, there are players in their dugout now that are packing things up into a bag. So my guess is they're probably packing some things up for a specific player. And maybe that player is hitting the road early or something. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but it seemed like their coach was even visibly frustrated with the player because of the fact that he was chirping on the end of the dugout. And as a coach should be upset about that because there's no reason to get thrown out for chirping at another player on the end of a dugout. So now it does look like that
And, yeah, it does look like there's some more players leaving for the Collegians.
And I don't know if that was a player that was getting stuff for another player. I don't know. That's interesting. That was number 4, Caden Cooper, is who that was. So Caden Cooper was the one who got into the altercation with Russell over there at second base. So I don't know if he was actually thrown out of the game or what went on there, but maybe it was just him leaving the game in protest. I don't know.
After that foul ball, Kyler Adams has an 0-2 count with 1 out. Cogill shakes his head a few times and comes set. Here's the pitch. And that will go up high for a ball. Adams came into this game with 5 hits in 11 games before this. And the 1-2 is a swing and a miss. And it was dropped by Dylan Hazelhorse. He will throw it to Tanner Norman, who was not ready, but he gets to first just in time. And that is out number 2. That'll now bring up the left fielder for the Collegians, Jack File. While the freshman from Denver is dealt a strike there from Hunter Cogill. Files 0 for 2 to start tonight's game. Played 24 games in his freshman season at Haverford College. Pretty notable player to come out of the Denver area. He fouls that one out of play. It's now 0-2. File went to Northfield High School where he was the conference player of the year. Batted .479 as a senior and was part of Denver Post 2025 All-State team. And now this is his 17th game with the Collegians, and here's the 0-2. Hazelhurst has to go out of his stance a little bit, and that was a ball. Hazelhurst wants it off to the side. It goes there, and that is out number 3. 3 strikeouts in a row for Hunter Cogill. Ends the top of the 7th, and the Larks will go to the bottom third of their order right after the 7th inning stretch. Seven to 4 is our score going into the bottom of the 7th inning. It's Tanner Norman up to bat, facing number 19, Zach Hall. This is the 2nd inning of work for Hall. He came in the bottom of the 6th inning. Larks got 1 run off of 2 hits against him. And now we're ready for the first pitch of the inning. And Tanner Norman lets it drop down. And it's the right decision. It's 1-0. Now the curveball here to Tanner Norman misses as well, and it's 2-0. Zach Hall has pitched in 6 games prior to tonight, 10 2/3 innings, and I think that Tanner Norman was hit, and he was. He is now the 3rd different Lark to get hit by a pitch in this game. And the umpires were very quick to jump out there and make sure nothing else happened. Like I've said already, there's definitely some frustration with the Larks with the brawl, the ejections, and then multiple players being hit by a pitch now.
Well, props to Tanner Norman. He was able to keep us cool as he was walking over to first base, and that really speaks a lot about a guy who can just kind of keep it even cool, even keel, keep a good head about it, and just walk over to first and not make a big deal about it, especially considering, there's been, like you said, 3 different players tonight that have been hit by pitch, one of which was right at the head.
I'm not sure what the signal was right there.
He just threw somebody out. Yeah, he definitely just threw somebody out. I don't know who he threw out, but he threw somebody out.
I don't think he did because there's no reaction, and plus he did this at the very end. So
maybe, I don't know. Well, maybe he didn't signal that he was hit by pitch. I don't know. This game's got all the stops, Hank, doesn't it?
Here is Austin Crawford with the runner on first base. His first pitch is called strike 1. Tanner Norman is on base now for the 4th time tonight. And with our post-game player interview coming up at the Larks win, I think he's going to be one of the players that we talk to. Our goal is always to try to get as many players to get at least one interview as possible. We haven't gotten the chance to do Tanner Norman yet, so it just feels right. And if he scores here, that's 3 runs for him. The 1-1 goes by the knees of Crawford. Or that's actually Carson Lyles batting now. So Lyles is dealt the 2-1, and this is a chance for a double play. And the Collegians are able to get it. It's 6-4-3 for outs 1 and 2. Now up is the catcher, number 29, Dylan Hazelhorst. He is 1 for 2 tonight. A walk and a bunt single and a run for him. He has 2 out. He's working with 2 outs and the base is empty. The catcher centers his glove, and the count starts 1-0.
Well, I noticed on that play over at second, Tanner Norman took a wide berth around the bag as he was, instead of sliding in over at second base, he just took a wide berth just to make sure he was out of the way. And I really appreciate that from Tanner Norman to just kind of try to diffuse the situation altogether and not put himself in harm's way.
That foul ball was the first strike there to Hazelhorst. And he swings and misses on the next pitch. He's now behind 1 and 2. And Hazelhorst will foul that one out of play going into the parking lot of doom. Someone is very lucky. That one landed right next to a car but didn't hit any of them.
Whew. And we need to have a running tally one of these years of how many broken windshields result from that parking lot. There needs to be some sort of automotive repair company that sponsors foul balls.
This is a ground ball, and they're going to call him safe. Hazelhorst able to beat the throw on the ground ball to the left side of the infield. And that's his second hit on the infield in this game.
And even though all the infield from the Collegians are upset about it, I actually think that was the right call. The tie went to the runner there in that situation, and I do think that was a tie to the runner there. I do. At the moment that his foot hit the bag, that ball was in the mid of of that first baseman, and that's the way the rules of baseball are written. Tie goes to the runner, and I understand it's close, but he had the best view on it right over there, right next to that bag.
So now here is number 5, Max Flowers, trying to start a 2-out rally. Hazelhorst has a lead over at first base. And now Flowers ready to bat. He's 2 for 3. He's also been responsible for 3 RBIs and a run scored. He will start with an 0-1 count there against Hall. Hall is a high school senior for the Collegians from Fossil Ridge High School. That's in Fort Collins, Colorado. And on the next pitch, this one will bounce way up high off the net, and it gives Hazelhorse plenty of time to advance. So now the count is even as Flowers goes back in. For Zach Hall, this is his first game since July 6th. That was 13 days ago when the Collegians took on the Game Day Angels. And here's a pop-up that's going to sail out of play right behind the third base dugout. It's now 1-2. So Flowers is down to his last strike against Hall. He is committed to play at La Sierra next season. That is an NAIA school in California. And this is popped up, and it's gonna land in the stands. And it is almost caught barehanded by a fan. Beer in the left hand, right hand up in the air. He almost had it, but that is a tough play to make when you're a fan.
That is a tough play, and I can imagine that having alcoholic beverages in your system probably didn't do him any favors either. But, you know, that reminds me of that clip. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this clip. It's a very infamous clip of there's this dad at a baseball game, and he's got a beer in one hand, his kid in another. There's a foul ball that comes up. He drops his kid. He grabs the ball and then picks his kid up again. I mean, it's impressive.
Wonder where that guy is now.
It makes you wonder.
I'll be willing to take a bet that he got an earful from his wife on the way on the car ride back home.
I would say that's probably safe assumption there.
2-2 is the count to Max Flowers with 2 outs. Hazelhorse is at second. He had the infield single and advance on a pass ball just a moment ago. Hall kicks and deals, and this one's a fly ball sailing out of play, landing in the grass area. That's 6 pitches thrown now to Max Flowers. He's getting set to go back in the left-handed box against the left-handed arm of Zach Hall. The Larks saw him on June 4th in the second game of the doubleheader. Larks were able to get 3 hits and 5 runs against him. Here comes the pitch. That's a swing and a miss on a drop third strike. And the throw goes to first in time, and that ends the inning.
Good call. Good call. Good call, 19. Good call. Clear.
And another player has been ejected. It is number 19, Zach Hall, the pitcher. He was making some gestures to the fans, and the umpire saw enough. So that is another ejection tonight after the 7th inning.
A running total is 3 right now, Hank.
This has been an insane home finale, but we still got 2 more innings. We will have those for you when we come back. The Larks had 1 hit and 1 left on base in the bottom of the 7th inning. And Eli's keeping track now. We just had our 3rd ejection of the game. It was the pitcher for Boulder, Zach Hall, making some gestures at the Larks fans. That got him kicked out of the game, and now Hunter Cogill's still out there for the top of the 8th inning. He's up 1-0 against Britton, or down 1-0 against Britton Fox. Now it's 1-1 on the foul ball that will go out of play.
Well, Hank, let me tell you, I think that ejection really was a product of a home field advantage, and there's nothing. The fan base that the Larks have is such a loyal fan base, and they are passionate about their baseball. I'll just leave it at that.
Next pitch to Fox. Grounded and fielded by Tanner Norman. Hunter Kogo will go to first to cover. It's an underhand toss, and it's out number 1. That'll bring up number 17, Parker Noah, the second baseman out of Phoenix Community College. Noah has 1 run tonight. He's the leader for the Collegians with 21 now. His first pitch is on its way. It catches the outside corner for strike 1. Noah's still undecided on, or correction, he's only a freshman. I thought he was a sophomore at Phoenix Community College, so he just played his first season there. He's now going to face an 0-2 count. Had a very successful season with the Bears. 20 runs and 30 hits for him in this season, and he also was named a Gold Glove Award winner for the team. And on the 0-2, he watches it go by, and that's another strikeout for Hunter Cogill. That's his 4th strikeout of the game since coming in at the end of the 6th inning. And now it brings up Yale Johnson.
Well, I must say, it seemed like after that altercation that was had on the field, it seems like this Larks team is playing with some fire. I like it. I really do. I like it a lot. And Hunter Cogill is pitching a masterclass out on the hill right now ever since coming in for relief.
This one gets fouled back into the net by Johnson. No balls and 1 strike. Johnson just has 1 hit tonight, a single in the 6th inning. He was the main man last night for the Collegians. 2 home runs in the 4th and another in the 6th. Or he had a home run in the 4th and another in the 6th. Now it's 0-1, and Cogill delivers. This is popped up. Norman's going after it in foul territory. On the run, he's trying to track it down. He puts out his glove, and it's just a little too far out of his reach.
And that, to me, looked like he might have lost it up in the light up there. There's of course, the stadium lights they're bright, and when you get a ball that goes up in front of those stadium lights, sometimes it's really hard to track that ball. And I think the wind also had a little bit of factor there as well. Norman looked like he almost underran it before he ran over there because he wasn't really running with a whole lot of urgency to get over to that ball. It was just a tough play all in all to make that on the run over the shoulder like that.
Cogill goes to the outside on his fastball. It moves the count to 1-2. He'll put another one off to the side, and the count runs even. Johnson trying to avoid a 3-up, 3-down inning for the Collegians. The pitch is on its way, and it's grounded foul down the 3rd base line. The only times there have been 3-up, or there's actually been 4 3-up, 3-down innings up to this point. This would be the 5th for the Larks against the Collegians, along with the 1st, 2nd, 5th, and 7th. And that pitch will go up high for ball 3. This is the first batter that Cogill has a full count against. Hazelhorse wants it right down the middle, and this one is foul again. Johnson will walk back to home plate in search of his 2nd hit to keep the inning alive. Here's the pitch, and this one is grounded into the glove of Austin Crawford, or Carson Lyles, rather. He bobbled it a little bit, and this one is thrown to first in time, and it's another 3-up, 3-down inning for the Larks. The top of the 8th comes to an end with no runs allowed, and the Larks up 7-4. The Larks are now looking for some insurance runs here in the bottom of the 8th inning as they try to finish out the 2026 portion of their, or the home portion of their 2026 schedule with a win. Their record at Larks Park this year is 13-4. They're trying to make it 14-4 as they send Cooper Holtorf to the plate to face a new pitcher. Zach Hall was the last pitcher for the Collegians, but he got ejected from the game for making gestures and saying some words to the fans. The new pitcher into the game is number 21, James Varela, for his first game with the Collegians. He delivers ball 1 to Cooper Holtorf. Now here's the next pitch. That one goes outside as well, and it's 2-0. The glove gets centered from the catcher, and there is ball 3 to Holtorf. James Varela is a recent graduate of Broomfield High School in Colorado. He is a left-hander playing in his first game with the team, and he is committed to play next season at Indian Hills Community College. He deals the 3-0, and that one will find the strike zone. And on the 3-1, that one goes to the outside. That is ball 4 and the second walk of the night for Holtorf. That takes us now to number 3, Rainer Bean, the DH for tonight's game. Started over 3, but got a single in his last appearance. Holtorf has a lead over at first. He's had some steals this season. Now here's the pitch. This one takes a bounce on home plate, and it's 1-0 to Bean. Still a lot of Larks fans in attendance for tonight's game, with this being the final home game. Started an hour earlier than the usual time. And now it's 2-0 to Rainer Bean. This game for tonight started at 6:10. It's currently 8:52. And this time last night we had a very late start. This time last night we were only an hour and 30 minutes into the game. Here's the 2-0, and Bean pops it out of play. We'll see what Varela does right here. He's got the runner at first base, and it's fouled out of play once again. Bean now faces a 2-2 count. Larks Park has almost gone silent as they await the next pitch. Varela delivers it, and this one is hit hard by Bean right between Carney and Fillinger. And Bean's got his second hit of the game as he is now the new runner at first base, and Holtorf's over to second. And that brings up Sean Keenan. That was an unintentional rhyme, by the way. Bean puts it in between the shortstop and third baseman. Keenan's been on the base path twice tonight. He was walked and hit. Varela's watching second base. He delivers, and this one bounces in front of home plate. It's picked up by Adams, and he gives it back up to his pitcher. Varela watches second. Holtorf hasn't attempted a steal yet, and now here's another ball to Sean Keenan, and it's 2-0. Both of these teams still just have one game left. The Larks are in action in non-league play tomorrow night against Dodge City. That is a 7 p.m. start time, and what is going to be a very hot game. It's expected to be around 98 degrees at first pitch on a turf field. But Boulder, they'll get some time off. Their next game is a week from today against the Fort Collins Foxes. Foxes were a team that were looking pretty good at a lot of points this season, putting together some big wins, mainly in non-league play. They currently sit in fourth place in the RMBL standings, and this year there's only 2 teams from the RMBL that make it to the NBC World Series, just like last year and the year before. Keenan is ahead 3-0 against the new pitcher, James Varela. In 2024, when the Larks won the championship, they were in it with Liberal. Last year, Dodge City made it, but got eliminated in pool play. And this year, Liberal and Hayes are in it again. It's a pretty good number of Kansas teams in the tournament this year, and there's ball 4 to Keenan. He is going to send Rainer Bean to second and Cooper Holtorf to third. And up to bat is number 15, Hutch Russell. Looking at the Kansas teams that made the list of 16 teams competing in Wichita this next week. That includes the BTL Hornets, a team that the Larks saw in non-league play back in June. The Great Bend Batcats won the Jayhawk League. They are in, along with Hutchinson, who was the champion last year, so they already had a bid. And the Junction City Brigade are in it too. And we've already mentioned that Liberal is in from the RMBL as the champions. Plus you also have the Texas Army team, which is from Goddard, Kansas, and the Larks will see them. The bases are loaded for Hutch Russell. No outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. All the runners have short leads. Russell has 1 RBI tonight. And he hits a line drive right into the glove of the second baseman, and the shortstop, excuse me, and he gets the double play. They're going to call Rainer Bean out at second base. He didn't get back in time. That one went right into Fillinger's glove.
That was the right play, or the right call, excuse me. And I think Rainer Bean was a little bit in shock that they ended up calling him out, because initially the initial ruling from the umpire out there, he initially started to make the safe motion, but instead he changed his call and corrected himself and made the out sign, and that was the correct call in that situation.
Stokes starts with an 0-1 count. He is the beverage batter tonight. He's gotten 1 hit, which was a double in the 5th inning. And for the Larks fans, this is more than likely your last chance to get some discounted drinks. And now Stokes is down 0-2, fouling the ball back. The Larks have runners at the corners after that double play. It's Holtorf at third and Keenan at first. Stokes is behind with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Here's the pitch from Varela, and that's a swing and a miss for out number 3. So the Larks aren't able to get any runs, but they still have a 3-run lead. The final inning is coming up next. The Larks are 3 outs away from ending the home portion of their schedule with a win. They lead 7-4 against the Boulder Collegians, and they have a new pitcher out there. Replacing Hunter Cogill is number 3, Rainer Bean. This is his 5th time checking in as a pitcher. Majority of Bean's appearances have been against Liberal. He had 3 games against them. His only other appearance besides the BJs was June 18th against Game Day. Now he pitches against the Collegians, and the first ball is hit right into the glove of Hutch Russell. And on the first pitch, there's out number 1. Reminder to Larks fans, our post-game player interview is coming up next. Tonight it's going to be with Tanner Norman and Max Flowers. Max Flowers was responsible for getting 4 of the Larks runs. And then Tanner Norman's a notable player that we haven't interviewed yet this season. So last home game, we're going to do it. Bean is ready to face Caden Cooper. Here's the pitch. And that will start the count 0-1. I apologize. That's not Caden Cooper. He was one of the players for the Collegians that got ejected. The new guy in his spot is number 3, Skylar Daniel. Swing and a miss on the 0-1 count. That's strike 2. Bean has 6 strikeouts in his 4 games, has only given up 1 hit. And he has had a lot of success in his secondary spot. Here's the 0-2. That one misses off to the side for a ball. We'll see where Hazelhorse puts his glove. He wants it off to the side again. And the curveball contact is made by Skylar Daniel. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Daniel is a native of Boulder, Colorado. He's been able to make some contact with the ball in this season. And now he works to a 2-2 count. His biggest problem, though, was that he has been struck out a total of 22 times in 16 games. And there's the pitch and the swing and the miss on the 2-2 count. That is the 7th K of the season for Rainer Bean. And now the Larks just need 1 more out to go out with a win. It is number 18, Logan Carney, up to bat. He's had 3 balls go in play. All of those have been outs, including 2 that have been double plays. This time the bases are empty, and he begins with a ball. Here's the pitch, and that is in the strike zone. It's now 1-1. Now Hazelhorse wants it inside. Rainer Bean delivers. He puts it low, and the count is tied. Carney came into this game with a .316 average, playing in what is now a team-high 24 games. And that will catch the inside corner. It's the curveball again for Rainer Bean, and the Larks are 1 strike away from victory.
That was a gorgeous pitch there from Rainer Bean. Just able to spot that curveball in the inner half of the plate. Beautiful spot from Bean.
There are the claps from the Larks fans. Bean is ready. So is Carney. Here's the 2-2, and this is hit right back up the middle, and the game will stay alive.
Well, Bean went back to the curveball on that pitch, and this time it was a little bit more elevated than the pitch before that, and I would imagine Carney probably recognized the curveball out of the hand this time, just knowing what it looked like on the pitch before that, and he was able to read it a little bit better than he did in the pitch before that, and was able to protect the zone and then give it a ride right up the gut. That's a tough ball to field for Rainer Bean on the hill.
This is a slow chopper right back up to Bean. He throws it to first, and the Larks give the home fans 1 more victory in 2026.
Larks win it in a very memorable and dramatic fashion. Final score, Larks 7, Boulder Collegians 4, and a great finish for the Larks tonight, and a great finish to the home stand, I guess the home season. They gave the home fans a great show to end the evening, as they'll take to the road for a couple more before heading to the NBC World Series. It's always looming large on the horizon. They'll look to make some noise in Wichita. We'll step aside for just a moment. Hank's on the field, and we'll have our on-field live post-game interview here in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Game player interview with Hank Corsair, sponsored by Lewis Automotive Group in Hayes. Hank standing by with two of tonight's players. Hank, it's yours.
Thank you, Ken. I'm here first with Max Flowers, who had 2 hits, 3 RBIs in a run tonight. How good does that feel for your last home game of the season?
It feels really good, just bouncing back from an injury and being able to step in and immediately do something for the team. It was awesome.
And I was going to ask about that. Did you have any difficulties coming back, or do you feel like you're still playing your best ball?
I still feel like I'm playing pretty good. I didn't have too much time off, so I was able to find the groove pretty quick. But yeah, it's been going good.
And you guys still have one more regular season game, but what's going to be the key for you guys in the NBC World Series? And is there anything you want to say to these fans?
First, thank you guys for the whole season. Thanks for coming out and supporting us. It's been a pleasure, and it's been amazing playing in front of you guys. And then, just taking these couple days to rest, get the team together, and go at Saturdays as hard as we can.
Congrats on a great performance. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Max Flowers. I'm now here with Tanner Norman, who was the only Larks player to have 2 runs tonight. What was your key in tonight's game?
Tonight, I just found ways on base, recorded 3 walks and a hit by pitch, and just had some good guys that hit me in.
And you've actually recorded 11 walks in your last 5 games, so what would you say has allowed you to have such great plate discipline?
Just being patient, waiting for my pitch. I know I'm good enough to where I can take a pitcher's pitch and hunt mine later in the count.
And the same question to you, what's going to be the key to winning the NBC World Series, and do you have anything you want to say to the fans?
The key is going to be gritty zeros, and we got to come out and start early. We've had some bad habits of scoring late in the game rather than early, so we just got to come out hot. We're excited for it. We're going to go out, we're going to give it our best, and try and make a run at it.
Congrats on the win. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Tanner Norman.
Thanks, Hank.
Well, we appreciate Hank for conducting our live on-field post-game interview. Hank's on his way back up to the broadcast booth. We'll have our final thoughts during our post-game show, and then we'll sign off for the night. Don't go anywhere. The post-game show right around the corner.
It was definitely a chaotic final game here at Larks Park, but the Larks were able to get the win. The final score is 7-4 in the home finale of 2026. As we welcome you into the postgame show, my name is Hank Corsair, joined alongside by Eli Blankenship. And in tonight's game, the Larks took the opportunities again, and this time they were able to hold off the Collegians.
Yeah, and it was in very memorable and very dramatic fashion, I'd say. They really played a good game through and through. I think that they kept their composure pretty well despite all the extracurriculars that were going on in the contest. And I'm really proud of this Larks team as to how they came out tonight and how they performed.
And also you got to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff for how this game played out, that they were able to keep the players focused, and it shows the Larks have some of the best in the business. You got Frank Leo for over 40 years, and he's got a bunch of young guys around him that connect with these players, and they were able to put together a great performance as well.
Oh, without a doubt. And to say that they're the best in the business is not an over-exaggeration. I mean, they truly are. And I think with guys like Brady Kreitzer, who's a new addition to the coaching staff this year, he really is able to connect with some of those players, some of the younger guys, and able to keep some of those other guys in check. And I really it's really great to see the leadership that even some of the younger guys on this team are able to provide.
And the Larks still have one more regular season game. It's tomorrow night in Dodge City. It's definitely going to be one that gets the team some experience before they go on to play some very tough competition in Wichita. And it's going to be fun to watch because we will be down there in Wichita covering the NBC World Series. But the Larks need to get that win to get back in the swing of things, winning games again. But tonight was a good start, and it's going to be fun tomorrow night.
Without a doubt. And I think last night's performance was probably disappointing for a lot of these guys on this team. And tonight really was a kind of a get-back game to an extent, really trying to get back on track and then additionally just have a better mindset going into this NBC World Series. Give yourself a little bit of confidence. You and I both talked about at the beginning of the season. They came out really hot to start the season, 20-plus wins to start the year. And it's like at some point, they gotta lose at some point because we were like, if they go to the NBC World Series undefeated, there's no way. There's no way they're making it all the way through. And so to an extent, I think these losses are a good thing. It teaches these guys what they need to work on and what they should look to improve upon going into the NBC World Series.
So the Larks will play their regular season finale tomorrow night at Cavalier Field in Dodge City. It's the 6th and final matchup of the season against the A's, and it's scheduled for a 7 p.m. first pitch. And then afterwards, the Larks will play in the NBC World Series, and we will cover it here on YouTube. I'm going to pull my phone out because we just learned the schedule 3 hours ago. We're still getting used to it. But the Larks' first game is going to be on July 25th, so that's 2 days after the first game on opening night. And the Larks will play at 12 p.m. against the San Diego Stars. We'll have it right here on YouTube. And because of NBC rules, it will be an audio-only radio-style broadcast. But either way, it's going to be very fun, and we'll see what the Larks can do against the A's tomorrow night. Thank you all for tuning into tonight's game. I'm Hank Corsair, joined by Eli Blankenship. And ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your night.